grenades.
I'm
Rawr!
angry about cats.
When did we all get this dumb?
Almost only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear warfare. I don't see any bodies, so it doesn't count.
I'm angry about cats.
I'm the chef. I want to hear one thing. Yes, chef.
Come on, man. Use your brain.
The Why I'm Angry podcast starts now.
All right, guys. Guess I'm out of the screen a little bit here. Okay, there we go. So it's Why I'm Angry podcast. This is the chef. We are live once again, and let me try to get my audio turned up here a little bit. There we go. Had to turn up the mains. So, again, follow, like, and share us. Get out there, get us some more views, get us some more downloads, help us out. Easiest way to support us, it is free to do it that way, and we appreciate it just as much as anything else. Obviously we do have on our website at whyimangry.com or at Freestyle Creative Group, which is our production company. You can get on there, get a subscription, get $1.25 right now, gets you ad-free podcasts, $1.25 a month. It seems like we're just kind of, throwing pennies at it, but if we get a bunch of people throwing pennies at us, it'll be dollars, and we'll be able to produce a much better, much more timely, and we'll be able to get more hosts and things like that, because anyone who talks on the show that isn't one of our volunteer hosts, Honest Abe or Jay Boots or Peyton or Lady D, they cost money. So we right now we don't do a whole lot of that, but if we had a budget, we could. So you wouldn't have to just listen to the chef or anyone else just kind of drone on or whatever, however you like us or whatever. You wouldn't have to listen to us just on our own. So shameless plugs, get on, help us out. We need it. whyimangry.com or Freestyle Creative Group, which is our production company.com. So the title is The Quick Three. And I'm going to kind of go through kind of the top three things kind of going on in the news today, maybe over the last couple days here. And then just, maybe I'll hit a couple other things I saw as I was kind of looking through, doing a little show prep last 15 minutes or so. The Westminster Dog show was on, and the Preakness is this weekend. So we may hit on those topics a little bit. But one of the big things, one of the big articles I just saw is, and we've been kind of talking about this, being anti-Semitic or things like that, just, the freedom of speech, and the different things that we get away from freedom of speech on, are a slippery slope, or they can be a slippery slope, because once you start taking the freedom away, inches, then they take a foot, then they take, your foot. If Honest Abe was here. So just things like that, where, and so I found an article that kind of shows how it slides. So first off, we have the freedom of speech, where you can just about say anything in a non-violent manner. So you're not threatening anybody, or you're not, enraging a group like yelling fire into a theater or something like that, where everybody runs and people get trampled and killed and stuff like that. So you have the First Amendment that as long as you're peacefully protesting or peacefully gathered, you can gather in any name, say just about whatever you want to say, and you're protected by the First Amendment in the Constitution. If you don't know where the amendments are located, and if that's the case, then direct message me. We need some intensive therapy. Maybe you need to go back and do some history classes. Maybe you're not from here, and that's cool. We'll work with you and get you educated on all of that good stuff. So, the article it comes out of California. But basically, I saw it on a couple forums. This is the one I got was off the Glenn Beck, the Blaze deal. And so the president of a public university in Northern California, which was Sonoma State University, so not a giant university, but I'm sure I know without looking it up and how big it is a large public university in Northern California. He announced on Wednesday that he was going on leave. And this leave started less than 24 hours after endorsing an academic boycott on Israel. Which we've talked about how being anti-Semitic is in what you say is kind of against the First Amendment, but yeah, this is a public school that shouldn't be leaving anyone out based on their religion, race, color, creed, and now sexual preferences, sexual orientation, male or female, their sex, anything like that. It should be based on their studies, how what their grades are and things of that nature, and that's how you don't get into school or you get into school, but it's not based off of that you're an Israeli or you're not. And so basically, I guess what the story goes kind of reads on that the president went to pro-Palestinian demonstrators and he needed them to get off of the campus. They've been fiercely denounced by the Jewish groups and lawmakers. They're in the way all the time. And so they're fighting probably louder and harder than the Israelis on campus to just get these guys, the Israelis off of the campus, and not just be not for any reason, but there is Israelis. And so obviously their religion, their creed, the Palestinians in general have an argument that their country, that the Israelis took over their country. They've talked about giving them spaces and stuff like that. They've actually given them spaces in the country. They want their own standalone country that includes all of Israel, basically, and they're not willing to give up on that. And so this president went to these guys basically with an all-out statement to get them to shut down their tent and to go away. And they gave him some pretty pretty staunch compliance pieces in the negotiation, and he's like, all right, sweet, cool, as long as you guys load up your tent, I'm good with it. So he announced on Tuesday that he agreed to an establishment of an advisory council of students for the justice in Palestine, whose national umbrella organization praised Hamas-led October 7th terror onslaught that started the war in Gaza, to ensure the compliance with the deal, which also includes a section on disclosure and divestment. So basically, all students will have to disclose whether they're Israeli. They're probably going to get some stars that they're going to put on their shirts. Maybe they'll have to get tattoos with a number on them. I mean, like, what did this guy like? This guy's the president of a college. Think about this. This guy is supposed to be, if you think of the dean of a college or the president of a college, you would think that this guy is one of the more educated people in the school, maybe in the country. Maybe this guy's got, holds doctorates or has, some kind of education background where he's been to school doing this stuff. Like, what did this guy think? He appeared to make the school the first American university to agree to an academic boycott of Israel. He said in his statement yesterday, because he's now on leave on Thursday. He started this on Tuesday. On Wednesday, he went on leave. His goal when meeting with the students at the encampment was to explore opportunities to make meaningful change, identify common ground, and create a safe and inclusive campus. How does boycotting a whole group of people that this group does not like, identify common ground, and create a safe and inclusive campus? No, this guy just thought he could get away with just saying whatever he wanted to say to these Palestinian protesters or these Hamas sympathizers, and which is a terrorist organization that they're sympathizing with, and that he could just say whatever he wanted to say and they would shut it down, and hopefully he wouldn't have to deal with it. And that's not the real world. That's not the world that we live in. This guy made an agreement. Basically, he made an agreement with the devil here. And he now realizes that many of the statements I made in my campus-wide message did just the opposite. Well, yeah, you just told the Israelis that they weren't safe in any way, shape, or form. That anyone that had Jewish background had to leave the college, basically, that you were boycotting them. That they were I don't know how they were going to accomplish this. But for one, I mean, it's illegal because you can't discriminate based on that. But for two, how is that inclusive in any way? This guy is supposed to be the most educated person in the room. Says he also stressed in an email that the points outlined in the message were mine alone. So he's like stepping back, making sure that, the college doesn't take the fall, whatever. He's going to step away and leave. He's going to talk to the chancellor of the California state universities, and we'll see what happens with that. Most likely he's going to ride off into the sunset. They're going to pay him. He's going to get an advisory role somewhere. And they're just, he's got tenure and stuff like that. And so whatever. But I mean, think about this. Think about how just naive, how dumb we've gotten when we go into and this is what got me about like Congress when the Republicans had the majority, which I'm seeing more and more that there is there isn't the Republicans are not a conservative party anymore. You have a few holdouts that are still conservative, like your Rand Pauls and your Ted Cruz's and those guys. But you don't have as a party, they don't stand for conservative movement. They don't stand for anything but the power, like the Democrats, honestly, and they're just an unorganized form of Democrats. And so, but I'm sitting there thinking, why I learned negotiation honestly. Like I had to I went into sales for a little while after being burnt out as a chef as a restaurant manager, and went into sales and had to learn how to negotiate, how to read people, which I kind of grew up with hospitality and things like that, and you learn like as a restaurateur and stuff like that, as a manager, how to talk to people, how to read them a little bit, whether what you can do, what you can't do, how much you have to give if there's if somebody's upset about something, you kind of read that. But when I went into sales, then it kind of kicked it up a notch. You got to learn, what you can say, what you need to say, how, when that you have to ask for the sale and things of that, just you have to ask for what you want, and things of that nature. And then it kicked it up even farther when I went to buying people's items. When I went to antiques and antiquities and memorabilia, and buying antique gold and commodities and stuff like that, that then you have to if you're in a business where you're trying to buy at the best price for your company, then you have to read people even more. How this is where we're at. You kind of have to inch by inch your way to where you need to go, and there's certain qualifying questions, and it just. But in this, we're not we're not negotiating. We're not strategically setting up things. This guy just like, okay, cool, we'll just sector off. We'll be racist to a whole race of people, to a whole religion of people. We're just okay, cool. That these, the it's just, I mean, it's just dumb, and guys should know better. And I mean, come on. It's something I saw the other day, and something I was even thinking about here is, you want to prepare for the future and how bleak it could be. You want to prepare for the apocalypse, or you want to prepare for the alien invasion, or the zombie apocalypse, or just Jesus coming, or the rapture, or the downfall of the U.S., depending on what you believe in, and who, and things of that nature. You want to prepare for the end? You want to prepare for the bottom line times? Learn a skill. I mean, going out and learning, being a whatever you are, or whatever thing that you got into, marketing or management, or getting a business degree, or whatever, is great. But once you get that and you're set up and you're making money on this system, you want to be set. You want to be ready for the bad times. Learn a skill. Go back and get a certificate in something. Learn electricity, or learn electrical, or learn plumbing, or you know learn how to grow vegetables, or just learn a skill, because in the end, when money is not worth it, I mean, going out and buying gold and whatever, gold may or may not be the currency. You may not be nobody may trade in gold. They may, they always say they're going to, but at the end of things, it may not be the what they trade in. They may trade in copper or something else that they can find, or honestly, with the way things are going, it may be you may get to a point where it's the bad times because it's a digital currency and there's nothing you can trade in except for your skills. Buy a lawnmower, do something that somebody will trade for. So, that's my deal is, yes, you can hoard gold or silver or platinum or tungsten or any of those things, but when it comes down to it, you having a skill is more important probably than anything else that you can probably do for yourself, is to set up get skills and know how to use them. So I mean, that's kind of my driving force anymore. I mean, almost to the point of, don't go to college, get a skill. If you can afford to, if getting a skill is, if you'd be happy with your life having a skill, you can almost make as much money having a skill as you can sometimes going to school. That's not saying going to school isn't good for some people. I mean, a business degree or a degree in engineering or architecture or something like that, where you're learning something that people will use, that you can use. But getting a poli-sci degree, or getting a global whatever degree, a geopolitical masters or something like that, unless you're going to go specifically into that, unless you're going into you're trying to be elected, or you're trying to go into the world of politics or something like that, those degrees don't do anything. They don't, when it hits the fan, they don't get you here or there. So, but I digress. In other news, they're setting up a presidential debate. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump have agreed yesterday to participate in 2 debates. I saw the one looks like it's going to be, CNN will host the first debate June 27th, with ABC, an ABC rematch slated on September 10th. I bet, and if you're a betting person, you can find this bet. I bet that they don't do a second Biden and Trump event. I would be surprised if the first one doesn't either take Biden out and they end up replacing him with JFK Jr. or anyone else. Hillary, who I haven't seen in 4 years, basically, or Gavin Newsom, or somebody that makes a rousing speech and stands up and says, "I will take the reins from our fallen comrade," blah 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 type speech. So Biden's team has a lot of criteria. They're not allowing. Biden's team had also called for no live audience at the events, and no surprise moderators. Any candidates poll above 15% nationally who is on enough state ballots to win 270 electoral votes can participate. Normally, that effectively excludes third-party candidates. JFK Jr. says he can get there. Right now, he is currently on 4 state ballots, and he's polling at 10%. So right now, he's out. But we'll see. I would be super surprised if Joe Biden makes it to September, to do the second debate. If the first debate if there's no JFK Jr. on the stage, it's going to be a debacle. It will be a straight debacle. They'll either lob everything at Joe Biden and try to crush President Trump, and he'll probably still kill it, or they will. He's just going to trip up, and even though he's going to know the questions ahead of time, and he's going to have his speech cards out and everything. Some they're going to get mixed up somehow. He's going to, he's going to fall apart, something like that. So, again, other than that, it's kind of boring. It's kind of sad. It's kind of just ho hum. It is what it is. Until you know or think you know what's going on, it's just boring stuff. I mean, none of it really matters when you come down to the bottom part of it here, being here at the local level and stuff like that. What's it matter anymore? 2 rich old dudes trying to get power. I believe the one is trying to do it for the right reasons, trying to, set the world and the US up for his future family, his son, his daughters, his other son, just his youngest, things of that nature, set it up for the future. But other than destroying the country, what are they doing for us here? And honestly, the answer should be nothing, because the U.S. government, the federal government, should never touch you at your state, at your local level. Your state, your local governments should be the more oppressive group. But gotta have our Obama phones and our Obama care, and all of our Bidenomics and Bidenflation and all of that good stuff, so that we can continue to live in the free country that we think we live in. So, yeah, I think they said Jake Tapper was going to do the one from CNN, which isn't a surprise, but whatever. Anyhow, another thing that was just as equally as I don't know, exciting or telling or what, but more than 107,000 people in the U.S. died of drug-related overdose last year. And honestly, in the last year or two, that's even hit my family. And so this is a story I kind of have followed a lot, with fentanyl. and some of the other drugs around that are just so addictive, and you just don't know. For one, you don't know what you're getting in them because they're cut and laced and everything, and for two, they're just so bad that it's so easy to overdose. And because it's laced with something, you may not get the high as quickly, so you get into it farther. And by the time you realize that you've taken too much, and that's that. But they released data, according to data released yesterday from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, which, however you want to listen to the CDC, always take them with a grain of salt, because they're gonna bust the numbers to however they want. The preliminary tally represents the first drop in drug-related deaths since 2018, and a 3% drop from 2022. The CDC data did not reveal the cause of overall decline, because they don't know it yet. The biggest reduction was in opioid-related deaths, those involving fentanyl, heroin, or painkillers. However, those drugs still drove the vast majority of overdoses, which is 3/4 of the deaths. Meanwhile, deaths of methamphetamines and cocaine increased by 2% and 5%. See, this is where it's tough to read it and say, oh, it's less, because yes, there were less deaths, although 3/4 of them are still fentanyl, heroin, and painkillers. Cocaine and that increased, methamphetamines and cocaine increased, while most saw a reduction in deaths. Alaska and Washington and Oregon, which this year recriminalized drug possession, which they did not have a drug possession law, saw an increase of at least 27%, which seems like it kind of negates the 3% drop, but whatever. Lower populations or something. They say separately, Walgreens yesterday announced that it will sell a nasal spray version of overdose reversal medication, naloxone. And the thing with it is there's Narcan, the patent form of naloxone, became available for over-the-counter use in September. So they also did a big push at the beginning of last year to get a lot more Narcan into the police and first responders' hands to save people. But what that does is it just gives you a false sense of control over your addiction and control over the drugs that you're taking. That well, if the first responders get to me, then I won't. They'll have the medication to reverse it, and we'll just I'll be fine. And so I don't see this as a 100% victory, but it's a step in the right direction, and hopefully it's not one step back, 2 steps forward, and it gets worse next year, or by the end of this year, that things don't get a ton worse. And honestly, we can see it get you could see it get a lot worse if the environment, if the things around people get worse, if money starts to tighten up even more, which you're starting to see it. I saw that Red Lobster closed 50 restaurants this just on Tuesday, just straight closed them. Didn't tell employees ahead of time, didn't tell anyone, restaurant tours ahead of time, any of the managers, nothing. Didn't tell anybody ahead of time and just closed them down. And there it's part of some dumb decisions. All you can eat shrimp for $20 is definitely one of those. Is one of those promotions that it seems like a no-brainer. That you just you can't come on, like this dean of college that's just like oh, I'll just agree, and you know we can all be friends, all inclusively, except for the Israelites or the Israelis or the Jews, that we'll just exclude them, and no one will care. Well, yeah, whatever. But same type of deal. So that's where we're at. But so anyhow, um, getting into a couple little other things. I know that was my three that I said, or that we kind of said in the thing. The title is the quick three. A couple other quick things. Magician David Copperfield is accused of sexual misconduct by 16 women. The sequel to 1996 Happy Gilmore is slated. They've been confirmed with Netflix. Now that Netflix is doing it, I'm sure it'll be terrible, but whatever. Adam Sandler is to return. So, Sage, a miniature poodle, wins the 2024 Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show. Last couple of years, it's been kind of more working class. You've had, you had a golden retriever. We had a bulldog, and now we've got the miniature. The poodle is back. The poodle is sit. Had to give it a few years so that people would come back to watching it. But yeah. So OpenAI co-founder, chief scientist, Illa Sutskever, is leaving the company. He tried to help lead a November effort to oust the CEO, Sam Altman, which ultimately failed. But he's out. He's done. So there's been this big thing on Ozempic, and that there's a new experimental obesity drug. It combines GLP-1 blockers, which are found in Ozempic, with a molecule that targets the receptors in the brain involved in your appetite control. That shouldn't be a problem, since Ozempic and them have been under major scrutiny for whether they actually work or not. And then you've got let's just mess with your brain more. The Supreme Court approved a new Louisiana congressional map, adding a second majority black district. There was also one other one I saw that. So, and then we also have the Preakness this weekend. So, Preakness 2024. If you didn't see the Kentucky Derby, go back and watch it. It was literally probably one of one of the best races that you'll get to watch, like from this era of racing. Probably one of the best all out, just close. This is the race type thing. So just one of the best overall races. So so contestants, I wish that they would bring all of like the three horses that ran such a good race in the Kentucky Derby and bring them back to the Preakness. But they're not going. They didn't. It's going. Mystic Dan is there, which is the winner of the Kentucky Derby. Obviously, he's going to try to go for the Triple Crown. There's some other great horses, but you're looking at Seize the Gray, Mugatu, Uncle Heavy, Catching Freedom, Just Steel, Tucson Gold, and or Tuscan Gold, and Imagination. So you're not seeing Sierra Leone, and you're not seeing what was the other one that was supposed to be the big horse from the Kentucky Derby. So yeah, you're not seeing Forever Young, which ran third in the Kentucky Derby. You're not seeing, was it Fierceness, who was supposed to be the top horse for the Kentucky Derby, who ended up running 15th. Yeah. So, I mean, you're not even seeing like T.O. Password, which was one of the big Japanese horses. The Forever Young was the big Japanese horse. So kind of disappointing, and I wish. I mean, it should be three great, three of the the best races, but I thought with Sierra Leone. I mean, I told my wife, I said, getting into it that Sierra Leone, they can't win. I think I said this already on the podcast. You can't buy the Kentucky Derby. The second you think you bought the Kentucky Derby, $2.3 million horse, so Mystic Dan comes in by a nose and wins it. So, yeah, honestly, there isn't too many horses that actually ran both races. So, the only ones that you got are the gray horse, I think. Nope, Seize the Gray didn't run the Kentucky Derby. I thought he ran it. Maybe he ran one of the pre races. But yeah, you're basically running a completely new race with Mystic Dan going after a new set other than yep. Oh yeah, Just Steel is the only other horse that ran in the Kentucky Derby and is running the Preakness here. So, and I think that Mugatu was supposed to run in the Kentucky Derby but scratched. I'm trying to see if they say that. Yeah, not on this article. But yeah, so another good race. Uncle Heavy I've seen run. He's a good horse. Seize the Gray is a great horse. Catching Freedom I've seen run isn't bad. Imagination was has a couple good wins. Just Steel is a justified full. So could be another great horse. Has won some good races. Didn't do so good on Derby Day. End up in 17th. But so, well, I guess that's kind of it. It's kind of a quick deal. We're kind of coming into summer. We're trying to hit this hard. Obviously, I'm kind of filling in for the whole crew here today, and so we want to make sure that that we're set up for this. That we're going to be committed. So make sure that you're getting on, checking us out live. We are live on Thursday nights. If you're on the podcast, Thursday nights at 8:00, we go live pretty much sharp. We might go live for half a minute or a minute or so before we're ready, and then you'll hear the normal, lead in for the Why I'm Angry podcast, and then you'll hear my amazing voice. So get on. Again, follow, like, and share us. That's the easiest, quickest way. You can get on our website and give us a few bucks one time. Give us $1.25 a month, and we'll give you free, ad-free podcasts. And then we'll shoot you some specialty emails and things of that nature. Get you some more stuff. $2.50. You get the whole pass. We'll shoot you emails with information every week about what we're going to be talking about ahead of time. We'll shoot you emails about different things. We also have a news page where you can get on and check us out, check what we're looking at. We try to update that daily. And so just get on, get your information, start thinking for yourself. Start getting your own ideas and thoughts, and if you get some of those ideas, thoughts, comments you want to give us, or anything like that, whyimangry@gmail.com is your place to talk to us directly. Or you can always shoot your stuff in the comments, and just say, hey, I'm here, or something like that. So get on, get to know, and get to thinking for yourself. Free thinking, freedom.
Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.